Hey everyone, Last Borough Standing podcast. I'm here uptown in the Bronx with the one, the only Mugzy McFly.
All that.
Mugzy, you want to tell everyone about you?
Um,
What you do?
just a guy that likes to do my best, do
Yeah.
whatever I can, be a little creative. I'm a brand owner, designer, entrepreneur, part-time superhero on the weekends. Just an all-around good energy.
Yeah. What part of the Bronx are you from?
I am from the best part of the Bronx, and that's Uptown Bronx.
See?
Come
I'm
on
from
now.
uptown too.
Of course. Only right.
What's your favorite thing about uptown?
My favorite thing about Uptown is honestly just that pure, raw Jamaican culture. Everybody, publicly talks about like certain parts of Brooklyn, like Flatbush and stuff like that, maybe
Yeah.
East New York, but like the diverse, like there is a level of diversity here, but it's so heavily Jamaican, Uptown, Caribbean, that it's like being in Jamaica, like
Yeah.
legit.
Yeah.
And to the point that people that speak here basically speak Jamaican and can understand Jamaican like it's a second language to them. So that's probably my favorite
Yeah.
thing. There's a bunch of things, but that's
Yeah.
my favorite thing.
I feel like a lot of people don't know that uptown is heavily Jamaican. Like when they think of the Bronx, they think of like Puerto Ricans or Dominicans.
Because
They only know like the South.
they only know the South,
Yeah.
and that's by design because up here is still owned by the people.
Yep.
And more so down there is being controlled and changed where we still have the power.
Yep. So growing up uptown, there's advantages and disadvantages everywhere you grow up. What were some of your disadvantages and what were some of your advantages you feel that you had growing up uptown?
Well, the Bronx period disadvantage would be, we kind of got this stigma of like being extremely ghetto and poor and violent and stuff like that, which is, Brooklyn gets a lot of that, but they've kind of been able to be gentrified away, so it's kind of been pushed out.
Yeah.
But since, we talk about places and certain things are highlighted, but you've never been here, so you wouldn't know what exactly it's like. Like I've had different news networks come here and they tell me, oh, I didn't even know the Bronx had homes. Or the train, I never seen the train come out of the train station.
Like come elevated.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
but you, a news reporter, how you never knew that? That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I believe my advantages of being from the Bronx and Uptown is that I still can tap back into the source because I'm not too far removed from the culture or where my parents have, built and came from and were the standard they were grown on. And I think that most of us, we so disconnected that we are so Americanized and gentrified and so far removed from what actually works that, I still get that here.
Yeah. You still get that authenticity.
Yeah.
I get that. Was there anyone like influential, like as you grew up uptown in your upbringing, that kind of shaped your trajectory into becoming a designer? Like a teacher, somebody on the block, your friends, anyone? Or did you have like a designer that you kind of looked to and got inspiration from?
Well, it's a bevy of people. Well, I mean, to be honest, there's levels. So like when it comes to like rappers and designers, Kanye West has always been a big staple in my life, maybe my favorite human being. Just the simple fact that he continued to push his envelope and come out of his box from being, couldn't be a great producer, became a great producer. Couldn't be a great rapper, arguably the best discography there is. Couldn't be a designer, arguably the best designer, period. He kept jumping, and if he said he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it.
Yeah.
I will also double back on Ralph Lauren. People don't know.
Also from the Bronx?
Who's also from the Bronx. A lot of people don't know that. And I think he's the greatest American designer there is. And I always have a little bit of Ralph on me, like my underclothes is Ralph. He's probably the only designer I know that's able to still orchestrate a way where no matter how, it could be from t-shirts to the purple label suits, that he still commands a level of quality and namesake that no one else can. Like it ain't Ralph though.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to like a little lower level, like my cousin, a good friend of mine, Joker, those were like people a little bit older than me that kind of just stepped out the box with their style throughout their entire life that I was able to look at. They weren't more so like the gangsters or like the drug dealers who also had money that kind of influenced me, but they just had their own style that stepped out of the box before the social media stuff. So they influenced me heavy.
Yeah, so more like raw, authentic kind of street style.
Yeah, like being able to be like the cool guy, but still the weird guy. Like, you know, like being the cool guy on your own terms, which I kind of stand on.
Yeah. When, like, what were some of the challenges that you faced as you started to like enter fashion or just creating? Like, were there any challenges that stuck out, and how did you overcome some of those challenges?
The challenge is that I am not formally trained or versed in fashion. I just know fashion from experience and my own likes and taste levels. I went to school to be an accountant. I have a 4-year bachelor's in accounting. I have not been taught formally in clothing whatsoever. Everything I know, I learned.
Self-taught?
Self-taught. I learned to sew at Moods in New York City, in the bottom of the city. But otherwise than that, nothing else. So everything pattern-wise and fabric-wise, I learned from trial and error. So that's one of those major things. And it's also being able to pivot. I believe that black people have a way to look at black businesses, especially clothing, that is distasteful, whereas like I wear it to support or to be charity, not so much as quality, and I like the designs and stuff like that, which is really, really difficult. I still face that to this day. And I came from party promotion, so it was really hard to turn those people into people that would buy physical product. But I mean, figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, your target audience is your target audience, right? And whoever's going to purchase is going to purchase. So, like, do you have any bestsellers? Like, is there a particular piece that you make that people really, really like?
That constantly changes. So, I would say the first bestseller I ever had was my dad hats in 2016, and that probably made me realize a different level of marketing. And like the dad hat is that it's automatically a billboard on someone's head, and girls will wear it when their hair's not done, guys wear it whenever. And that was just kind of like, wow. And then the thing about it is one size fit all, so it's not like a shirt where if I don't have your size, I can't sell to you. It's like, if I have a hat, you got a hat. That's good. So that was like the first thing. Then I could go down the line where there's certain shoes and sneakers I've made that are sold out. There's certain hoodies I've made, pants. And then like even on the pandemic, like my mask, I sold thousands of those. And it was like one of my first like things where I sold so much units so fast. So it constantly changes. There's nothing that's like exact staple. Everybody has a different thing they marry to or know me for.
So do people come in and get custom pieces?
So with the brand directly, I don't more so do that because I believe it kind of waters down the vision. Because if there's gonna be a true custom, I'm gonna put a lot of time and energy into it. And I think if I'm gonna do all of that, I might as well release it. So I've done little here and there, but it's not more so custom. I more so might design something purely for you or help you design something that's for your brand or your event or something. But under my logo, my branding, no.
Okay, that makes sense. You kind of want to keep it, I guess, still authentic to your branding and everything like that.
Yeah, like I'm telling a story. I'm building an empire, and just having a random misplaced brick doesn't really help.
Yeah. Any future aspirations for Mugzy McFly?
Of course. I mean, I feel like I never stop hoping or praying to do amazing things. I just really into expansion. And getting to the point where I can tap into a lot of places I'm interested in. I want to be nation, hold on, like being almost every state, then kind of get overseas. I really, really want to be in Japan and Paris, which is not as hard as it seems because I've been to those places. And I also just want to build up and improve my community. I want to actually have different businesses and staples, and you know, people talk about buying back the block, but there's a lot of things that I want to own that I believe we need for us to be able to be our own bosses and live out our dreams.
That's a fact. When I'm gonna come back to buying back the block because that's gonna go into a few of my other questions. But in terms of your like, you know, as being a designer, you have to have a sense of creativity. So what are some things for like that influence your creativity, or like sources that you get like inspiration wise?
Well, that's easy. I believe you just gotta be honest. The worst thing you could do is draw inspiration from other clothes because then it's secondhand.
Yeah.
I get stuff from the Bronx, from being Jamaican, from playing sports, from being an outside party promoter, a socialite. All of those things
kind of come together.
Kind of come together, like me having love for anime or Back to the Future movies or 90s hip hop and reggae.
Yeah.
It all ties into what I do. Everything. Like, even the way my shorts are fringed is a Jamaican thing where it would look like he might have just cut his jeans.
Yeah.
But it's designed like that.
Yeah.
But that's a Jamaican thing. You know what I'm saying?
So little pieces of different parts of like the culture and just places that you've been.
Yeah, honest,
being around.
Like, it's basically telling a story about who I am at all times. So it's just completely building upon that and having little Easter eggs here and there that, oh, you might like that because it's trend now, but the Jamaican man, the Rasta man outside like that because he's like, that's how the type of pants I've been wearing for 30 years. So it's different.
So going back to when you mentioned buying the block, that goes into my next set of questions about gentrification. So you see it kind of happening. I guess, what are some things that were indicators to you where you were like, oh, they're starting to gentrify the Bronx?
Well, I mean, it's even down to the block we're on right now. There's 3 huge apartment buildings and 2 businesses left. I can recall when next door was a church and a big parking lot where kids played basketball and congregated, and the other buildings were other businesses, and next door was a club a million years ago.
Act 3,
and don't forget it.
If you know, you know.
So, like, looking at it now, like, by design, you know, if there's there's big buildings, there's a grocery store, it kind of is building itself up to be that kind of way where, you know, in the middle of the night, there's a bunch of Section 8 people outside with their kids or smoking and doing drugs, and it's like natural by design. You might want to leave here, but once you leave here, they'll get rid of those guys and bring in somebody else. It's right here next to the train, Metro North down the block, and then even by the Metro North, they're building up a whole new housing over there. The block over, there's new housing. On 241st, there's new housing. So it's happening, and I'm really cool with my councilman, so he's put me on to game with stuff, and he's like, you got to be mindful. Like, it's happening. We are the last of the last, and they're starting from the top down to kind of crunch in from the South Bronx, and then cover all ground.
I don't know how they're gonna tackle the Central Bronx because it's a different kind of.
I mean, it happens to the point where it collapses on itself because you have nowhere to go because there's one side of the South Bronx where it's projects, one side is high rises. And it eventually it gets to the point where it's like, all right, you don't fit in here. You can't afford anything here. It's slowly but surely, and that's the reason why we kind of need to pay it forward to the people coming behind us, because if you don't, it's going to be like, all these trends happen for a reason. Oh, let's go to Atlanta. Let's go to Houston. Get out of the greatest city in the world. Like, that's the whole point. But people don't, people follow trends and not think about the deeper reasoning behind things, and that's right.
Do you think your business specifically is going to feel the impact of gentrification as time goes by, or?
Well, yes and no. My plan is to buy this building. I already have the ideas and I already know what I want to do with other parts of the building, and I believe as being fashion, I mean, if they new bees come in, I'll be selling to them. I'm not against that. And here serves as mainly a base and a reminder and a stamp as what the Bronx is. And I'm bigger than just the Bronx, so I don't think this location alone will, be the reason why I would strive to continue or whatever. I have other avenues, so I don't think it's anything really I don't think it would really affect me in any negative way, at least.
So, seeing that, gentrification's happening, the economy is wild right now, how do you keep your clothing accessible for people? Like, you know what I mean? In terms of making it accessible, making it inclusive to people that might not be able to, afford a piece or something along those lines.
So I try my best to go with my consumer. So one thing I always have a way that you can get something at a reasonable price. So I always have my sale in November where it's 50% off, where it's like there's people that legit just wait just for that. And I'm incorporating other things where it makes sense. Like even with McFly Fest,
Yeah.
you buy a ticket, the first few people that come, I'll be gifting shirts. You get
Oh,
shirts.
nice.
You get your shirts early, and then even with the opposite end of that, if you buy something, you also get access to the event. Which, if you think about it, is like you're paying for a festival and getting a shirt at a crazy price.
Yeah.
So there's just ways to bundle it and still show you like you supporting is. Your support is appreciated.
Yeah, and
so
you're helping out the community in a way.
And then I'm also trying to get to the point where, like I said, Ralph Lauren, where he's able to sell at 3 T-shirts for $35, but then sell suits for a couple of $1,000s.
Right.
So
right.
I'm still trying to strive that, but I just want to keep the quality the same way. So that's what I've been working on heavily. Where it's like, okay, there'll be things that's a little bit on the higher end, but I'll still appease those.
Right. You mentioned McFly Fest. Do you want to tell people who's listening or watching what McFly Fest is?
McFly Fest is what eventually will be the biggest event that I have ever created. It's a melting pot of everything that interests me in all my ventures. McFly Fest is my festival where admission is mainly clothing. So if you bought a shirt, you get a ticket.
Yeah.
If you bought some sneakers, you get a ticket. You buy clothes, you get a ticket. But I also did this year where you can buy the ticket and then you get the clothes after. So just so no one isn't left off bad and bougie. So everybody has a chance.
Yeah.
But at the same time, now I know, but I also care about the kids in the community. So it's all ages. There's plenty of inflatable attractions, open running space for kids. So last year we had clowns and paint face painting and stuff like that.
Oh, that's dope.
So
that's dope.
Then there's also the appeasing to businesses. As we speak, someone is writing me asking about a vendor spot. There's plenty of room for vendors from clothing to makeup to health to even I have a bank that actually works on bringing finance to smaller businesses that has a slot there. Healthy juices. But then at the same time, as someone who likes to party, there's alcohol, there's food, there's mixed drinks, there's stuff like that. And then I double back to the artists and the other creative where I have performances. I have a bunch of signed and unsigned rappers that will be performing and hitting the stage with a lot of other surprises. And then I also double back and I've been giving media passes to a bunch of photographers and content creators that I know just so they have a venue that, you ain't got to go fight Summer Jam to go be on it. You just DM me, I got you. It's not a problem.
Right.
So that's the only thing I think of that ties into everything I do. And I pray that it goes tremendously to the point where I might have to do 2 days.
What day is the event, by the way?
Sunday, July 7th.
Sunday, July 7th. Where's the event going to be, by the way?
McFly Fest is in Memorial Field, the stadium in Mount Vernon. I really aim to not be comfortable, and it's very stressful, but I go to exceed all expectations at all times. That's just my
event
vibe.
Planning is not for the weak, but just leave it in God's hands and it'll work out.
Amen.
So, do you have any advice to other clothing designers or small business owners, or just a kid watching this from Uptown that's like eventually would want to venture into maybe clothing design or just creating something? What advice would you have for them?
The advice is very, very simple. Do what you love. Don't get too caught up in the highlight reel. Everything we do now everything you see now is kind of fake or manufactured away where it's like, it looks like something. And if I do something great and you do something great and it looks like we both do something great, then we both do something great. And it's not the truth.
Right.
The thing about this journey is that you need to have love and dedication and focus.
Yeah.
And if you don't love it, you're not going to make it to the points where it's not great. And it happens all the time. You have to love it to do it. Because why do I have to go pay this much money to go be in a stadium when I can just probably just say, let me do a pop-up right here in my studio that I'm already paying for, but that wouldn't be anything special. It wouldn't be able to accommodate a bunch of people or have that kind of stigma where it's like, whoa, I have to be here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just it. Being uncomfortable, loving what you do, striving for greatness and having a purpose. So I would say just be true. Know what it feels like. I say it all the time, even though I'm trying to be in a financial freedom place, you kind of got to fall out of love of money. Money should come, but you have to have purpose and love and a level of dedication to really pursue anything of this great magnitude.
That is an amazing answer. Wow. I'm about to take notes my damn self.
It's
Starting this podcast has been real ghetto, but I'm just like, I do love doing it.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the things you mentioned was resonating with me because I'm like, yo, I'm not getting paid to do this, but I'm putting on for my culture in a way that so many people talk shit about the Bronx. And I'm like, yeah.
See, but that's the whole point about the purpose is like, people don't like black entrepreneurs or even black designers, but it's like, okay, if I can, the best way to combat that is not being online arguing with people. It's to do something.
Yep.
Now, if I'm doing something, oh, who's that designer? Oh, yeah, he's on Saks. Oh, yeah, he did something with Nordstrom. He has these people wearing his clothes. He was on Drip Report.
Yeah.
Oh, he has a huge fashion show. Oh, he's doing a festival. It's like your favorite brand, whoever they are, they don't do this.
Yep.
They don't matter who you're talking about. I could go up against anybody with that. They're not doing it.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of what it is. It's like, we all talk, we all have opinion, but can you physically do that? Can I really engage with the community, not by views, actually have you outside and being outside and touching the people?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody can't do that. So that's the purpose. There's a purpose in everything. The whole point of being here right here on White Plains Road that I grew up on is that that kid can walk by and see that sign. I have friends who have kids that look up to me that be like, you really know him? And the simple fact that they could go on the bus or on their way to school and see that sign, it means something to them.
Yep.
And that's why I paid so much money to put that sign up there. I could have just got a little regular paper banner, a little real quiet, calm. No, I want you to know I'm here and I'm here for a reason. And I know with that being there that if I ever was tempted to like, all right, I can't do this, I'd have to watch that sign come down, and I would never want to see that.
Yeah, yeah. Good points. What do you wish you knew in the early days of Mugzy growing up that you know now?
What I wish I knew is that your best bet is being yourself. The coolest thing you can do is being yourself. It's not cool if it's not that. Everything else is trend. It's like trendy kind of cool, but cool where you don't care about everybody else is doing or saying, and you're more in tune with your internal. That's the real cool. And I wish I knew that you don't have to be perfect. I used to be obsessed with trying to be perfect, and it's like there's perfection in imperfection.
And that's how you learn stuff too.
Yeah, that's really, and that's the best bet. Like being safe, the comfort is very, very dangerous. And I wish I knew that from the jump. Like everything that I wanted to explore, I would have explored a little earlier.
Okay. So, you know, the name of this podcast is Last Borough Standing. So when you hear Last Borough Standing, what comes to mind?
As soon as I seen the name, I knew it was the Bronx. Because I tell people all the time, like, Queens has been gone, Manhattan has never been here, and then I watch Brooklyn change. And then, like, I know for a fact, just from, like, moving around and people talking and seeing things myself, is that it's very, 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 very limited amount of people that could legit, like, I can still go to the first beef patty store I ever been to. When it comes to Jamaican food, if you want some real Jamaican food, I mean, everybody. I know people that drive from west wherever to come here to get it because it's like, not for the most part. Other places they're franchises. Nothing against Golden Cross or Peppers or whatever, but that mom and pop with that lady with the attitude, that food ain't nothing better than her food. Nothing better than that. And it's like I go outside enough to still see that legit. Not even just the Bronx, Uptown, because South Bronx is. But so much left that we are really the last standing of New York. And then like even crunching it in from going to Mount Vernon all the way down to like right before Fordham is like that's what's left. Because everything else has been taken over and is gone.
Wow, it's crazy because you mentioned all the other boroughs except Staten Island. Every time I ask people,
no, because you know the funny thing about Staten Island, like I've been there, and I believe Staten Island still has a good level of their culture, but it's so isolated and small that it's very easy for them to just take what they want. And it's not their fault or in their control. So it's like I don't even bother with them. Like they wouldn't be the last borough standing. Even now, I think Staten Island probably has more more controlled in the Bronx, even though it being small.
Yeah.
So it's like, I wouldn't count it to that extent.
Yeah. Okay. Well, any last outstanding stuff you want to tell the audience? Mugzy, where can people find you on social media? I know you already mentioned where your business is, but any last things, any last thoughts you want to share?
You can find me anywhere, Mugzy McFly or Simon McFly. Google it. Everything comes up. It's there. Every place you could think of. I just want to tell anyone that if you want to do it, just do it. Start today, not tomorrow. Every critique does not have the same weight. Remember that people project their fears onto you, and I'll leave it with this story. Before I got a car, I wanted a Jeep. This Jeep was the second car I had. I wanted a Jeep, and I didn't get a Jeep. And my friend kept trying to tell me what car to get. No, I don't get that. Don't get this. Don't get that. And then one day, I was about to ask him what car, like they tell me what car to get. And I said to myself, wait a minute. He doesn't even drive.
Someone that doesn't drive
Someone
was
that
telling
doesn't
you.
own a car was telling me what car not to get.
That's wild.
So it's like, what expertise do you have? Do you drive this car?
Right.
And I've heard a million bad things about Jeep, and to this day, it's still my favorite purchase in my entire life. So, I mean, people project. And the same thing even with my brand. A friend of mine would tell me, oh, don't work overseas. You have to be so much months in advance because of shipping and everything. Then I learned that not every factory ships sea. Some ship air. And not every factory, depending on the price point you're trying to save at, it will take some months. Some other things take a month.
Right.
And I've learned, like, just because you had a bad experience and you decide to stop, it wasn't
that don't mean it's gonna happen to me either.
And it hasn't.
Yeah.
So once I learned that, I was like, nah, you some things you could, they say it's very wise to learn from other people's mistakes, but there's certain things you have to experience. That's why I believe that all the old quotes from the great philosophers are really short and sweet, because you have to dissect it yourself. If they give you a whole manuscript about everything you need to do, you'll never live life and never understand, no matter what I tell you.
Yeah.
If I could try to describe love forever to you about what it is, but you will never understand until you're in love.
Yep. That's a fact. Thank you, Mugzy. This was great. I appreciate you sitting with me. Everyone, Mugzy McFly. Thank you.